Let me record this meeting too. Okay, so here is the list of content abstract classes. I think you are already done with that. Let's see the interfaces and also the usage of static keyword and few sample programs. But we know that abstract class is the one what we did yesterday by writing a class wherein the method is there but the functionality is missing for that method. Means a class that is defined with missing functionality for one or more methods, right? So such class is known as an abstract class, and such a class cannot be created as an object, means that cannot be instantiated as an object. So that is the reason, first of all, to bring the functionality of those missing functions, missing methods, we need to have a subclass for that abstract class, and that subclass responsibility is to provide the functionality for all those missing functionality of methods. Means bring the functionality for all those abstract methods. That is what the subclass is going to do, right? So that's what we did yesterday. We took the shape class as an abstract, and then that shape class was defining a getArea method, and that getArea method was overridden by the respective subclasses of shape, namely rectangle and circle classes, right? So that way our abstract class is allowing us to take care about those unimplemented methods, right? So inside an abstract class, it is not something that you can define only one abstract method, but you can also define any number of abstract methods. And also you are allowed to define the non-abstract methods as well. So why non-abstract methods? Because in case if you think that some functionality is required even without instantiating that abstract class object, we wanted to make any calls, so we need to define those methods as the non-abstract, but those non-abstract methods to be directly callable, so that direct calling is possible when we are going to define it as a static method. So that's how any non-abstract methods we would like to define inside an abstract class, they must be declared as the static methods. Like the way your main method is declared as static method. Why? See, whenever you are going to write a program and you want to run the program, right? So when you are trying to run that particular program as a run as Java application, it looks for the entry point of the program. It is not going to instantiate. It is not going to create the object of your class which you are running. JVM is going to look for the entry point. JVM is not creating any object of your current class, right? It looks for the entry point, then that entry point should be directly accessible without instantiating the class. So that direct accessibility is provided if the method is declared as a static method. So any member that is going to be declared as static, that would be known as the class level member. Means you need not to instantiate that class as an object. Directly through the class itself you will be able to access them, like the way main method is getting accessed by your JVM, right? So like that, any non-abstract methods we would like to declare inside the abstract class, they will be declared as the static methods, because abstract class cannot be instantiated. But in case if we wanted to invoke the functionality of some methods, directly we can do that. That job would be done if that method is declared as a static method, right? So that is what the abstract class is all about. And any such unfinished class or unfinished method is marked with a keyword called abstract. We know that, we did that yesterday, right? And we will not be able to instantiate such things, right? And the functionality of all such abstract methods is going to be taken care by the subclasses, that also we are done with. And one more point which we need to remember here is that only one class can be extended from one abstract class, or in general we can say that one subclass is extended from only one parent class. No subclass is extended from multiple parent classes. Java does not allow that, whereas C++ allows it. Means if you are trying to take a class X from class A, you can say public class X extends A, right? Acceptable. Whereas in C++, if you want to declare that class X by extending from two classes, it is allowed. Means you can extend the class X from A and B in C++, but Java does not allow that. Java allows only one parent class for any subclasses. So that parent class could be an abstract class like the one which we did yesterday, right? So that way Java is allowing single inheritance. Single inheritance means one subclass is extended from only one parent. Multiple parents are not allowed. So if you are going to allow the multiple parents, that becomes the multiple inheritance. So to bring that multiple inheritance feature in Java, a concept called interfaces is introduced. So by writing any number of interfaces which also looks like your abstract classes, wherein the methods are by default to be considered as the abstract methods in the interface, and one class can implement multiple interfaces, but one class cannot extend from the multiple classes, right? So class to class A extends from class B, it is nothing but single inheritance. If class A is going to implement interface I and interface J, interface K, whatever, right, then that is known as the multiple inheritance, right? So that is what the interfaces meant for the multiple inheritance, whereas abstract classes are meant for the single inheritance, right? So like that, any abstract class you are going to define, that would be acting as the base class for someone else to extend and then take care about the functional implementation of all those unimplemented methods or the abstract methods that are declared in the abstract class, right? And you cannot instantiate your abstract class that we are knowing. We tried yesterday, and similar to that, interface is also going to be a set of methods wherein all those methods will be by default to be considered as the abstract methods, and no static keyword is allowed over there, right? And any variables you are going to declare inside the interfaces, all those variables will become the final variables, means they will be considered as the constants. You cannot modify the variable data of any interfaces. So these are the couple of pointers which we need to remember, right? So let's try to implement these things. So how a new class is going to get extended from only one, and how a class is going to implement multiple interfaces. So all those things we'll try to understand, right? So the main intention of all these things are for the purpose of PC maintenance. Like going down the line, we are going to get into the collections framework wherein list is an interface, and that interface is implemented by the multiple classes, array list, vector, all these things. And these classes are not only implementing the list interface but also the other interfaces, right? So that way, lot of code reusability, compatibility of plugging in and unplugging, efficiency in compilation, all those things are the advantages that you will come across with the help of these interfaces and all. So let's start writing there. You can understand what exactly interface is trying to do and what exactly abstract class is trying to do, right? So who would like to share the screen? Raja Singh?
I'll do it, Amjad.
I'm making the presenter. So all you guys are downloading all these classes, right? The PDFs, etc. So we are already done with the abstract class examples like shape.java, rectangle.java, circle.java, shapestest.java, all those things we already tried, right? Now we will try to understand some other abstract class. So let's create a new class, name it as abstract test. abstract test and take the main method into that. Abstract test. And you can take the main method inside it. Like the way we played with overloading test and overriding test by defining few more classes of our own. So similarly, you can declare one abstract class, copy these lines and paste it at line 2. Does it paste it? Can you please press Ctrl Shift? There we can understand. Remove those blank lines, line 6, line 8, Ctrl D, right. Right, if you see this abstract class P which we declared here is defined with one constructor and one method. And the method is an abstract method, no functionality defined, but the constructor is trying to make a call to that method M, right? And then let us extend this class P as a subclass just below that. Copy these lines of code at line 11. Press enter at line 11 and paste these things. Control Shift F please. So class Q is extended from class P, and Q is also defined with a constructor, and that constructor is making a call to the method M. So since class Q is making a call to is extended from P is an abstract class with an abstract method M, so that method M should be, yeah, please remove those blank lines so that we can clearly understand where the method is beginning and where. Don't know why the blank lines are there. Inside the constructor blank lines. Now those blank lines, okay, that makes more sense. Those things are, yes, correct. Those are all fine. So class P is fine. Class Q, constructor Q is there, but class Q is the subclass of your abstract class P, so method M must be overwritten here. So we rewrite the functionality of method M. Line 18, 19, 20, if you see, public void M is overridden here, which is trying to print the value of I. So I is a private variable there, private variable of your class Q, right? And the constructor Q is also making a call to the method M. Constructor P is also making a call to the method M, right? So let's see what is going to happen. If you say, can you try to instantiate inside the main method, saying that P, or just copy this one more line and paste it inside the main method. I am trying to create the object of P type. P obj equal to new Q and instantiating Q. Why Q? Can't I say new P? Can I say new P? On line 26, can you try to change that Q as P? I'm trying to make a call to the constructor P. It is not possible because you cannot instantiate the abstract class. even though there is a constructor, but you cannot make a call to that. So let's see what will happen when you are going to instantiate its subclass, and that subclass instantiation is referenced by the superclass variable obj. Save this, and what is the, are you expecting any output from this? So it should print the value of I, right? So let's see how many lines of output it is going to print. Since the call to the constructor is going to the Q constructor, it is making a call to the method M, and method M is trying to print the value of I, which is 1. So it should print only 1, but it is also printing 0 and then 1. So what it is? Because every time any subclass constructor is getting executed, internally it makes a call to its superclass constructor also. Even though you are not calling it, it is equivalent to writing something like, after line 14, press enter and put something like super. I mean, you are making a call from subclass to its superclass. Press enter and say super constructor, open bracket, close bracket. So this super call should always be the very first statement and internal statement. Even if you write, well and good. Even if you don't write, it is always making a call to that super class. Put semicolon. So because of this super call execution, the constructor P is also gets executed, and that constructor P is making a call to your method M, where it is implemented inside the class Q. By the time the method M is called from the constructor P, the variable I is not yet initialized with the value 1, as you said it here at line 18, right? So it was just 0, so 0 got printed. And then after the execution of that superclass constructor, it came back to the constructor, current constructor, and is making a call to the method M again. And by now the value for I is initialized with 1, and hence it is printing the value 1 there. So that is the reason we are getting the 2 lines of output printed here on our console. Is this clear? Any questions? Okay, whether you put super call or even if you don't put, internally it always makes a call to its superclass, right? So that is one important thing that we need to remember here. And here you can say that this is all the example of your single inheritance, means one class is extended from only one parent. Now to achieve the multiple inheritance, we need to deal with the interfaces, right? So let's create the interfaces. Right click on your mycom.oops.practice package, then say new interface. New interface. So name of this interface, just put I, capital I, right? Finish. So it is going to create you i.java, new file called i.java, wherein it is not declaring public class I, it is declaring public interface I. Alright. So inside this public interface I, define these two methods. Copy these two lines at line 4. There you go. So add method is defined, subtract method is defined, but no functionality given here. Add method and subtract method both are taking two input parameters and are trying to return the respective int value. But they are not providing any functionality yet. It is just an interface. So what you are going to add, how you are going to add, all that is the respective headache of the class that is going to implement this interface. Right? So this interface is not providing any functionality. So that's how any interface we'll be creating, by default all those methods are to be considered as the abstract methods. We need not to put the keyword called abstract as we did in our abstract classes. Here by default every method that gets declared inside the interface is an abstract method. Right? Let's create one more interface. Name that interface as J. New interface. Name it as J. And declare one simple method there. Copy this one and paste it at line 4. So I just wanted to verify whether x is divisible by y or not. If yes, return true. Else return false. So that's why the true false is nothing but the boolean data type. So I mentioned it for that method. So this is how I would like to define these two interfaces. And I want to implement these two interfaces by a class. Okay. So right click and create a new class. Name that class as CIMPL. New class. CIMPL. Okay, there are interfaces listed just below down that super class, right? Super class is there just below that interfaces. So any interfaces you wanted to implement, those things you can add it by clicking that add button. Type your I interface. So I want to implement interface I. Select that and then say OK. Again add. Select your J interface also. Then say OK. So these are the two interfaces I want to implement by my class. Now select the main method also. Alright. Now finish. So it is creating cimpl.java, wherein you can see that line 3, public class cimpl implements is a new keyword which is going to implement the given interfaces I and J. So since I came up with its own methods, those methods need to be taken care. Those methods need to be implemented here by this class. So those two methods are getting overridden. Public int add, public int subtract. And also your J. J is providing only one method. That method is also trying to get overridden here. So like that, all those three methods, two methods from interface I and one method from interface J are overridden here in this class in addition to your main method. So while doing this overriding, you can provide the functionality. So by default, they are trying to return the default values of the respective data types. When the boolean is going to be returned, it says return false. But I don't want to return false for everything. So I just wanted to verify whether x is divisible by y or not. So go to line 8 and remove that false. So how do you know that whether x is divisible by y or not? You can put x percentage y. Within brackets you can put that. So if x is divisible by y, then its remainder would be 0, double equal to 0. X percentage y double equal to 0. So it is matching with the 0. Right? So if it is matching with 0, it will be true. Otherwise, if it is not matching, it will be false. Press Ctrl Shift F. So that return statement will be properly written. Okay, it is readable now. Then what your add method should return? It should return the sum of I and j. So instead of putting return 0, you can say return I plus j. Right. Then inside subtraction, you can say return I minus j. Right. So all my three methods are overridden properly with abstract with the appropriate implementation, right? Now going inside my main method, I would like to do this. So copy these lines of code and paste inside the main method. So I am declaring two variables I and j. Int I equal to 10 comma j equal to 2, and also I am trying to instantiate my CIMPL. Small I you mentioned, right? So you can correct that. C small IMPL obj equal to new CIMPL. Perfect. So the object is getting created and I want to invoke the methods of that object. So I wanted to say sum of I and j is obj dot add, and to that add method I am passing I comma j. For subtract method also I am passing I comma j. Save this and try to run it. So you got to see the output. Sum of 10 and 2 is 12. Difference of 10 and 2 is 8. So this job is returned by the respective methods, right? Similar to this, we also wanted to verify that is divisible method, right? So copy these lines and paste it inside the main method. So we are saying boolean test equal to obj dot is divisible of I comma j. If the test is true, we would like to display the message, else another message, right? Save it and run it. There you go. 10 is divisible by 2. In case if you want to make any changes, you can go there and make the changes at line 25. Line 25, you can modify the value of either I or j, anything, so that you can see differently. 0 is divisible by 2. So let us verify that not divisible by, I mean else condition also. So it says 1 is not divisible by 2, right? So this is how we'll be able to play around that. Is that clear? Any questions? Okay. Now let's try to understand the static methods also. What will happen? So create a new class, name it as M. Class M, and take the main method, say finish, and we know that the program arguments will be passed to this main method, and let me pass those program arguments onto the other method. Copy this one line and paste it inside the main method. Right? So your main method is trying to make a call to some other method called a method. It is not available, so it is giving an error. So keep the cursor there and follow the quick fix provided by Eclipse. So it is going to create a new method. So if you observe this method, it should be created as a private method and it is not going to return anything, hence it is marked as void. and name of the method is A method, and it is trying to receive the arguments same as the main method arguments. So that's how args is the variable of type string array, right? And it is marked as static because my main method is itself a static method, and static method is trying to make a call to another method directly. Hence that another method should also be the static method. So that's how, based on the quick fix provided by Eclipse, the A method got created as a private static method returning void value. Right? Save this. And inside this A method, you can print all those arguments. You can write some for loop. Just say for press control space bar. Inside this A method, man, not in the main method. So you are calling that A method, right? So this A method should have to perform something. So let us write that for loop. For control space bar, iterate through that args array, choose the first option. So it starts from the index 0 and goes till to the last element. Right, write sys out there inside that for loop. Sys out args of I, which is going to print you the value of every argument. Args big brackets I. Save this. Now try to run this. Since you did not pass any program arguments, it is not printing anything. If you pass anything, right click and then pass something. Pass the arguments. No arguments got passed, so that's why it is terminated and is not displaying you anything. Go to your program configurations and then pass the values. Run configurations, yes. Click the arguments and pass 10 space 20 space 30, something like that. So some values you are trying to pass there, then say apply, run. There you go. So all those three arguments got printed by making a call to this method, A method. Right? So this is how the static method that gets invoked. For example, let's say my A method is not static. So remove that static keyword at line 11. Main method must always be static. You cannot remove that main method static keyword. Right? So now it is a non-static method. So how can you call this non-static method? So go to line 7, comment that line 7. Right? Come to line 8 and create the object of M. M obj equal to new M. Constructor. It should be constructor. Press enter. Now you can say obj dot and your A method is called like this. Press enter. That's all. So the array of your main method is passed to that A method by invoking it as an instance method. So when it is marked as non-static method, it should be considered as an instance method. When it was a static method, it was considered as the class method. Save this. Control Shift F. Run. So it will be producing the same output. So the difference between static and non-static is this one only. Whenever you wanted to make a direct call without instantiating, that time the method must be static, right? And when you want to invoke it as an instance method, it should be non-static like this. Clear? Any questions? Okay, let's try for another program. Static test. New class, static test, and take the main method also. Finish. And copy all these lines of code at line 4. So I would like to define a static block, and also I would like to define one non-static method. Press Ctrl Shift F and remove those blank line 5. Also blank line 9. Perfect. So static block is there and a non-static method print is there, which is trying to print the value of I by concatenating it to the string hello. Right? Now copy these 4 lines inside the main method and tell me what is the output it is going to produce. How many lines of output we will be able to see on our console? We are trying to instantiate the two objects of static test, st1 and st2. So st1 is making a call to the print method with the value 1. So it should be printing hello 1. Then st2, I am invoking the same print method with the value 2. So it should be printing hello 2. Right? Is it going to print you only 2 lines of output, 3 lines of output, or 4 lines of output? How many do you think it is going to produce? 3 lines. What are those 3 lines? First line will be hi, then the next line will be hello 1, then the next line will be hello 2. Right? So that is how the 3 lines of output. Perfect answer. Right? So the static block, whatever we wrote, that gets executed only once for the class. However bigger is your class, right? If you are writing some static block, means it gets executed only once. So that's how you will be getting those 3 lines of output. Save it and run it and verify that whether it is producing 3 lines or more or less. Right, there you go. So this is how it produces the output. Clear? So any questions? I want you to practice all these examples from these things like interfaces versus abstract. The differences is listed out here in mindprod.com, and Java Beat article is with respect to the Oracle certified Java programmer certification link is provided. And also the tutorials point examples.com is also one good example, good website. So please go through them and try to understand more about the static usage, interfaces, abstract classes, all these things. So if you get a good hold on object-oriented programming, then you will be able to understand any frameworks all that pretty easily. Right? So that is the reason I tried my best to take the things little slowly. Right? No hurry, no worry, nothing. Right? So now from now on going forward, we'll be slowly increasing the speed, right? So I'll be uploading this PDF also. Please download it and download whatever are uploaded so far, right? Any questions? Anybody, any questions? If not from this class, even from your previous classes also you can ask me the questions. But I request you to practice as much as you can. So read the textbook, complete reference, do some practice from that book, do some practice from the links that are provided to you, right? So that way, as much as you can practice, you'll be able to grab the things easily. Any questions? So if no questions, we'll wrap it up here. Okay guys, then see you tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Tomorrow maybe I may not be able to. So we'll meet again on Monday. Right? Thank you guys. Thank you. Bye bye. See you on Monday then. Bye. I love you. Have a good weekend. Yep. Bye bye. My kid wanted to say bye to all. Okay, bye. Bye bye kid. Okay then. Thank you guys. Thank you.